When you feel like an imposter, it isn't even really like the act of being like, oh, I don't feel good enough. I don't think I'm good enough. What that does is over time, it compounds into emotional and mental burnout. My name is Jill Perrick, and I am a mindset coach. I'm a business mindset coach, and I specialize in helping entrepreneurs overcome imposter syndrome and create more inner freedom, time freedom, and money freedom in their business from cultivating emotional wellness and helping you feel better. Let's talk about emotional and mental burnout first. I actually had a person reach out to me this morning about my stories yesterday because I was talking about how when you feel like an imposter, it isn't even really like the act of being like, oh, I don't feel good enough. I don't think I'm good enough. What that does is over time, it compounds into emotional and mental burnout. It will eventually burn you out to the point of you can't get excited about your business anymore. You can't get excited about the things that you're talking about. You'll feel drained. You'll feel kind of hopeless. And I know that that sounds really, really daunting. Like, oh, you're going to feel hopeless when it comes to your business. But that's the reality of dealing with something that is in your mind. So when it comes to imposter syndrome, comparison, and perfectionism, all of the thoughts that you're running through on a daily basis of, is this going to work? What do I have to say today to get people to buy? What can I do today that's going to captivate somebody's attention? That all compounds over time and you eventually get burnt out. And the problem is when you suffer with imposter syndrome, you don't let yourself take a break. You don't slow down because you think that your performance here and now and in the future is going to determine what happens in your business. You kind of forget about all the work you've done before or all the accomplishments you've had before, because that's the way the brain works. And you think that you have to do until something happens. But then even when something happens, you think it's a fluke. You think you just got lucky. You think, oh, clients don't come out of thin air. Yes, they do. And you worry that you have to keep it up. So it creates this emotional and mental burnout cycle where you constantly feel like you have to be on. And that means that you're not enjoying the things in your life. Like, let's say you're at an event with your family and you're scrolling on your phone and you're creating posts and you're creating stories because you're in a launch. Whatever it may be, you don't allow yourself to slow down, but what you don't realize is that that is just going to compound and make everything worse. And I don't mean that you need to slow down in order for you to like see the results that you want. You have to go to the source. You have to go to the source of that imposter syndrome. You have to go to the source of what is going on there in terms of why in the fuck do you feel like an imposter? And you start from there. You start with the actual thought. So what happens is a lot of people kind of like negate the fact that like, okay, we have so many thoughts, but there's no possible way that I could go and look at those thoughts all the time. But you can. Like, the best thing I did was slow down and like look at the actual thoughts that I was thinking and pay attention and be like, oh fuck, where did that come from? So I could have a thought of, nobody wants to hear this when I go on Instagram stories. And for a while, that was the reality I had. I would go to show up and go to say something, and I would be thinking to myself, nobody wants to hear this. Well, how do you think that that is going to compound over time if I'm constantly telling myself nobody wants to hear this? How do you think I am going to show up, and how do you think I'm going to talk about the things that I'm talking about when I think nobody wants to hear it? You show up in a different energy, you show up with a different kind of like confidence when you are thinking things to yourself like everybody needs to hear this.